give her just another minute, then maybe.
It's Friday night.
So she asked you.
Yeah, I will. We'll do her.
We have to do everything we can.
This text there?
Uh,
I didn't.
Oh, I just missed.
Oh,
I
did
don't
you?
even know if I have a number. I have. You've all texted me, but I've been. It's like all a group text, and like which number goes with who.
Doesn't tell you.
Yeah.
Unless
There's
you have the
no
numbers.
There's no caller ID.
No.
Give her one more second here. So we're from the other side, so didn't see her. Up him.
She was loading something in somebody's car when I came.
Okay. Yeah. So do we give her another minute, or do we? Okay. All right. Okay. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Can I have a roll call, please?
Morris.
Here.
Woods.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Cottle.
Here.
Casanello.
Present.
And Aiken.
Here.
Great, thank you. We have the senior pastor, Don Meeks, from Greenridge Presbyterian Church, that will give us our invocation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for your service to our community. It's an honor to pray for you all
We'll all stand,
as you
please.
engage in the important work that you're doing this night. Let us pray. Wise and merciful God, we come before you this night in a spirit of gratitude, humility, and trust. Thankful for the freedom we enjoy in our great nation and for your daily care, presence, provision in our lives. Thank you for the brave men and women who serve to protect and defend our nation in the armed forces, and for those who serve to protect our local communities in law enforcement, fire, rescue. Gracious God, protect all who find themselves in harm's way this night. We thank you for those who serve in public office at every level of government, and as this body convenes tonight to serve the citizens, businesses, neighborhoods, and Haymarket, we ask for your good and kind providence to be made known through the discussions and decisions set before these, your servants. May each council member be guided by a spirit of compassion, sound judgment, courage, justice, and humility. And may they exercise faithful stewardship of the community resources entrusted to their care. Watch over their families and loved ones this day, and protect each of these servants from discouragement, from pride, and from the weariness of soul that can come with bearing the mantle of leadership and responsibility. And so strengthen heart, hand, and mind that your will may be done on earth as it is in heaven. We ask this in the strength of your loving name. Amen.
Amen. You all continue to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, our next item on our agenda is our citizens' time. If anybody would like to address the council. Seeing none, we're going to move on to our consent agenda. So with this, we're going to kind of streamline the process, not unless there's an objection to one of the items on the consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to accept the items as included.
I move that we accept the items on the consent agenda as presented in the packet.
Second on the floor, any discussion? A roll call vote, please.
Morris.
Yes.
Swinburne. Yes. Woods.
Aye.
Cottle.
Yes.
Casanello.
Aye.
And Aiken.
Yes.
Great. And we're moving on down to our department reports. Actually, no, they're actually included in our consent agenda. I apologize. Our new item here are for 6601 Hunting Path for a motion to regarding the waiver of tax. And we have a draft resolution attached to it. Actually, it's probably the last page in your packet. Resolution 2014-1010-1.
Mr. Mayor, could I speak to that?
Sure.
This is a property that was sold for non-payment of taxes. The county took the lead role in this because the county taxes were also unpaid. As a result of the tax sale, the property did not bring enough to pay off all of the taxes. So the taxes were prorated by year. The oldest were paid off first, and then in years where both the town and the county had unpaid taxes, we prorated them based on the amount that was due to the county versus the amount that was due to the town on forward. So we got paid our proportionate share of the taxes that were due to the town, but because there's not enough assets in the property, there's not enough value in the property to pay off all of the taxes, some of the taxes remain unpaid. In order to clear up the books for the town treasurer, that requires action by council to basically write this off as uncollectible. The entity that owned the property, the National Capital Christian Broadcasting Company, did not have any other assets. They are now a defunct organization, so there's no likelihood that that money will ever be seen. So the best thing to say about that is the property is now back on the tax rolls and will be generating tax revenue. But this is uncollectible, and we just need to have this resolution to clear up the books.
Okay. So, anybody like to move to adopt this resolution?
Make a motion that we adopt the resolution number 2014-1010-1, whereas real estate taxes of the town of Haymarket remained unpaid from 2003 through 2013 on parcel number 103022, GPIN 7298-90-7006, located at 6701 Hunting Path Road, Haymarket, Virginia. And whereas the property was sold at judicial auction on April 18th, 2014, with deed recorded July 3rd, 2014, but the sales proceeds were less than the amount of the unpaid taxes on the property, leaving a deficiency of $5,359.27 to the town. And whereas National Capital Christian Broadcasting Incorporated, the former owner of the property, is defunct and has no assets available to satisfy the deficiency in the unpaid taxes, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Council of the Town of Haymarket declares the account balance of $5,359.27 on the property to be uncollectible, and the treasurer shall not include that uncollectible account balance in any list required to be prepared pursuant to Virginia Code Section 58.1-3921. This uncollectible debt shall be stricken from the books of the treasurer as of July 3rd, 2014, and the treasurer shall have no further duty to collect such tax or levy.
Do we have a motion on the floor?
Second.
Second by Mr. Morris. Discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Morris.
Yes.
Swinford. Yes. Woods.
Aye.
Cottle.
Yes.
Passanello.
Aye.
Aiken.
Yes.
Great. Okay. Our next item is our closed session. We'll have our attorney bring us in closed session.
Mr. Mayor, the motion would be in the form that the council convene in closed session to discuss as permitted by Virginia Code Section 2.23711A7, consultation with legal counsel regarding matters requiring advice of counsel, specifically dealing with the police department.
Okay. Need a so moved and a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Excuse me. We need a so moved first.
So moved.
So moved. Second by Mr. Morris.
Yes.
Councilman Morris. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, great.
Thank you. Would the council please approach the bench?
Nicely said. Might be.
It's the guy who wants to go home.
I'll vote for him. It's tomorrow election. Nothing against you, Mr. Mayor.
It's okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and call it back to the session.
The motion to certify would be to the effect that the council certifies that in closed session just concluded, nothing was discussed except the matter specifically identified in the motion to convene in closed session and lawfully permitted to be discussed under the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act cited in that motion.
Jennifer? So moved?
Yes.
So moved. Okay.
Second. Morris.
Yes.
Swinford. Yes. Woods.
Yes.
Cottle.
Yes.
Casanello.
Aye.
Aiken.
Yes.
And Lee.
Yes, thank you. All right, we have a motion,
I make a motion to direct the town manager, the chief of police, and the town attorney to act accordingly as discussed in closed session.
Second?
motion second by Councilman Woods. Any discussion on the motion? No. A roll call vote, please.
Morris.
Yes.
Swinford. Yes. Woods.
Aye.
Cottle. Yes. Casanello.
Aye.
Aiken.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to ask to see if we can amend our agenda to put in citizens' time. As you remember, we did have citizens' time, but we had no one present. There was a misunderstanding about what time our meeting was tonight. So I would ask if we would allow to have some of the citizens speak. Looks like we have in the audience, so with no objection.
Please.
Great. I'll go ahead and open up to citizens' time. If you just come up to the mic and
Yes, please.
Couple of things I wanted to talk about tonight. One is I'm delighted that the streets are at least drivable now. There's great progress there, except that my friends and family still can't get in my driveway. And I was told by the VDOT person and a couple of you that I would be getting something in writing that said my ends of the driveway were going to be fixed, and I would just like to know, A, when that something in writing is coming, and about when it will be done, if that's not too much to ask. The other thing I wanted to ask about was, and I know you all have been extremely busy, and you can't clean up the whole town. You're not street sweepers. You can't do it all in 3 months' time, but there's still the issue of the plan amendment to the comprehensive plan for Mr. Watts, and his son, AC Jr., are here tonight, and his daughter-in-law. They also want to know about when. I know that's something that can be accomplished fairly quickly if it needs to be, in a couple of months. And I think somebody, I don't know who or whether it was several of you, said maybe September or October or November. And Jennifer says tonight maybe February. So I'm hoping it'll be sooner than that. For one thing, Mr. Watts is faced with re-renting his house. Can he rent it? If not, he would like to sell it. That's the objective, and that was his objective when he was, in my opinion, inappropriately down-planned. So he wants to rent his house so that he doesn't have to pay those huge utilities all winter. And yet it's hard to say to somebody, even if we get a buyer, it's hard to say to somebody, you're only going to get a 6-month lease, or we don't know what the time frame is. There were times, if Mayor Cap is still here, former Mayor Cap, that we could process things pretty quickly. I don't know if you all can do that. I'm being asked by people who are interested in buying his house, what would that rezoning time frame take? We don't know exactly, and I don't need you to tell me exactly. just give me an idea of how soon a plan amendment can be made, and about how soon after that that the rezoning could be done, since it wouldn't be changing the property in any way. It's already existing property, how fast that could be done. I think that's all, and I don't know if they have more to add to that, but,
Okay.
and the written whatever about my driveway whenever you can.
Right, okay.
Thank you all
No,
so
thank you.
much.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak tonight? Okay. If not, we're going to go ahead and go through our council member time, and Dottie, I'll address some of your concerns here during my time to speak. Chris Morris?
Hold on. That was quick. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Did make some notes.
You want me to defer back to you? I can go.
No, because this lady beside me, she's going to steal my points.
Uh-oh.
I know her. Thank you. Just a couple of points for the personal council member time. I know there are many citizens that watch the recordings after the effect. They may not be here. It's something that we are working on, and we're hoping that more citizens get more involved. So with the presumption that they are watching the recordings in their off time, I just want to publicly, on behalf of myself and to an extent the council, thank our interim chief of police for the great work that he has been doing over the past few weeks. And in extension to our police department, I think our police department has been doing a good work. I think they have good support in the community. And on that note, I do want to ask our citizens, if they're listening, just to extend a little bit more grace as they go through this procedure in changing the things that they need to change, in improving the things that they need to improve. There are things that are still happening in the police department. So I just want to implore on them, our citizens, to give the police department time as they change the things and improve the things that needs to be improved in order to better serve them. Secondly, concerning our meet and greet to our business owners, I just want to see if we can extend it to our residents, maybe within the next couple of weeks. I think it's something that we should not have lie dormant, Mr. Town Manager. Even if they're just two residents or two business owners that show up, I think just have it more frequent. We had one now, I think 5 weeks ago. It's been 5 weeks. And I think planning one every 2 months would be good, just to get people out and just to hear from them, our citizens. It's sometimes tough to hear from them in meetings like this because they're only sharing. We don't really respond. We try to address it a month later. But I just think that we need to have more and more that one-on-one contact. I know our police department has been out pounding the pavements, doing some, beating the, our chief actually has lost some weight, and anyway, next time, But I think just for us to be able to meet them more. One of the things Joe and I are looking forward to in the month of October is to, we pledged to those people that we went and knocked on their doors and asked them for votes. October, this is the month when we're going back out and knocking on doors and asking questions. So just to open this place up to our citizens, I think it's something that we need to be more proactive with. That's all I have. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Ms. Winford?
Okay. The only thing first, the conference in Roanoke was great. Lots of positive feedback from a lot of the other towns. There are some things definitely that I think we should look into. There was a plan in Marion, Virginia, that supported entrepreneur businesses, and it was a fabulous plan. And they've had startup businesses happen in 2 years, filled almost all of their spaces, and they're still thriving. And some of that was done with special loans that they worked through with the banks. for certain percentage rates, and also with some grant money that was tied to some classes that had to do with business development. I just think it's something that we need to look into, and maybe go down and, I don't know, we need to go down and visit them and actually see, but we need to get more information from them. It's definitely something in this town that, as we're filling up, space, really needs to be looked at, because it's thriving. I mean, they're thriving down there. And they said at one point, you could, to quote them, you could have rolled a bowling ball down Main Street and not hit anything after 5 o'clock. So that was one positive thing that I think we need to start looking into. Outside of that, I've had a lot of feedback from the citizens, from some business owners about Haymarket Day and the closure of the roads and the backup of the traffic that happened down 29, down 15, backed it up down 66. I know Oktoberfest is coming up. We really need to rethink about how we're closing these roads in light of the fact that now Old Carolina or Jefferson, the bridge is gone. Can we even do that without? I mean, I know there's some vendors. I know this is not as big of an event. I know that we have the beer tent. I know, there's a lot going on, and this is kind of last minute. But I've had a lot of feedback about the problem of the backup of the traffic and the road closures. I mean, I think it's really something we have to start thinking about.
The question would be, is there a way to do the event without closing the road?
Closing the roads.
And maybe even say Haymarket Day, that it's only closed for the parade.
Exactly.
Just a way of thought.
Until we get this bridge open again. Yeah.
Go ahead, Mr. Henshaw.
I did speak to our events coordinators, and actually, from what I understand, they are actually looking at some alternatives. I believe they're actually have worked out an agreement with Fauquier Bank to actually have the Oktober festivities on the bank site. So I believe that has issued laid our concerns about traffic, and we were originally looking at the idea, since Jefferson Street Bridge is closed, could you possibly do it on that street alone? However, that would actually limit the businesses that are on that street. So that's actually wouldn't have worked anyway. So it's my understanding from them, they are very close to getting an agreement in place with having it at Fauquier Bank for this year.
Great, thanks.
In addition, sorry, is there any way we could hear about the plan before the event? I know they may be proactive, and they may be asking all these different opinions from different businesses, but is there any way the town council can be informed of what the plans are before the event? Because here's the deal: they may be in the business of event planning for a different reason why we're here serving the community, and they may make the decisions based on what they want to achieve from it. So what I would propose is that before the event, our town council is advised of what the plan is, so that if there are any changes that collectively we see that could either improve the event or not agree with the direction that they're going, we would have time to implement it. But I just think it would be fair, since we're the town council. We cannot leave it up to them to make the decisions as to what their alternate route is. We need to make that decision, not them. Is it possible to get that information to us?
Well, in general, I would say yes, because they're working at the pleasure of the council. However, this particular event, this was an issue that really kind of came up.
Say that again. They're working what?
With this, they are working for the town council.
Okay, I just wanted you to repeat it. Thank you.
I act as the liaison and everything for the events coordinators. What I would tend to say, though, is, however, this event is actually scheduled for next week. So I would say that actually they worked diligently to find an alternative that would not ill affect the issues that we ran into. Now, the Oktoberfest event, although well attended, certainly does not bring in the crowds that like the Haymarket Day does. So we are comparing apples to oranges. But with that being said, I feel like they actually did work diligently to try to address our concerns that were raised through either residents or from different conversations I've had with you all.
Do you think it may be possible, other members, that one of the subcommittee, am I stepping out the line? I never know, you know.
I think we were on Mrs. Swinford's time, so I think, I'm not sure
I'm
she
helping
yielded.
her. I'm helping
It's
her.
all his time.
Yeah.
Is it possible that one of the subcommittees could then meet with the event coordinators and talk to them about the plan that they have in place? I don't
Or at
know.
least with Mr. Henshaw, certainly. I mean, we could, that's what his job is the liaison, so,
That's what we're already doing. So.
okay. I just needed to put forth those concerns, because I had more business members come to me even today about, closing off the roads and how it really, in some cases, it hurts their business, just flat out hurts their business, period. But the backup was even on the radio from Haymarket Day. And they, on WTOP, they talked about how we closing our road did the backup.
Wow.
So we need to really take that in consideration.
Oh, there you go. You're right.
So, like I said, the conference was great. I really would like to see something about the business plan. I mean, it was like a Wells Fargo in conjunction. It was like a 2-point-something interest rate, $15,000 loan, $5,000 grant that was tied to an education, like a 6, 7, 8-week course that had to do with business development plans. Then they had to go before a panel and present their business plan. And that was voted upon to give a $5,000 grant, which then helps with the rent and everything else that people are having problems with their startup. So it was, and it's been going on for 2 years, and not one business has gone under. So
great.
I just think if we want to be business friendly, then that's a start. So I do kind of want to, Mr. Henshaw, kind of want to look into that with Marion. So.
All right. Councilman Woods.
I have nothing other than to inquire whether we need to add Dottie's concerns to our work session for this upcoming month, or if we even need to schedule another work session for sooner than that.
Good point. Yeah, I'll address some of it too when I speak on my time. Mr. Cottle?
Sorry about that. Green light means go, right?
Yeah.
I would second that. I was the one, and I don't know who else that told her, because I was told that VDOT would be contacting her in writing, so I passed on what I was told, so assuming it would be done, and here tonight it hasn't, we really need to look into that. So if we could add that to the work session so we know for in fact it's been done, not just we think it's been done. I'm all for the roads and everything. Pam over there said, Councilman Swinford. At the same time, this road project in town is dragging on and on and on. August came and went before it's going to be snowing, and I have my reservations that it's going to be done by then. And this Haymarket Baptist Preschool is taking a huge hit to their operation. They can't even get kids in and out. The parents can't get in and out. Employees can't get to work. I was told by more than one person last week that traffic was held up for 20 minutes in each direction, and you got kids trying to get to school, parents trying to get to work, and it's an absolute mess. So something needs to be done. I'm all for grace and stuff, but this road project has to be finished like a month and a half ago. It's getting out of control. And we talk about the road closures. This has to be impacting businesses as well. Some residual impact because people can't get around the town. And I dare say people are probably going around the town that would normally pass through because the traffic is a mess. So that, and then as a liaison for the town council to the planning commission, I want to commend Bob Weir. He's doing an awful lot of work for the citizens of this town on this transmission line that Dominion's proposing to put through. He wrote a great paper here. and I won't read it, but he's really doing right by the citizens in this issue of trying to lay some really solid groundwork of combating this transmission line. And I would really recommend at our next work session we bring him in, where we can have dialogue, so we can all make sure we have all of our ducks in a row, if you will, so we can speak with one unified voice. Because I just want to read one thing. He said, upon review, the proposed routes of the overhead lines will have a significant detrimental impact on a significant percentage of the town's residential properties and several commercial parcels. Although the SCC tends to disregard that as a factor in the review, the Planning Commission cannot ignore the financial impact on the town's residents and businesses. And then one other little paragraph. Lastly, although the subject of heated debate, the Planning Commission cannot ignore the potential hazard to the public health that may be attributed to the electromagnetic field surrounding high voltage transmission lines. So I think we really need to speak in one unified voice. And as far as Mr. Watts back there, we need to figure out, and also I'd like to add that to the work session, what's being done with that. We have all these little, I'm not saying it's little, because to him it's not, but we need to tie this stuff up and move on. So we could add that. And with that, I yield to my friend to my right, my esteemed colleague to the right, and I will go all.
Thank you, Matt. To our friends from the Jewish community, I want to wish you Lashana Tova, belatedly, and a easy fast for Yom Kippur. Mr. Mayor, your choice for the invocation this evening was excellent. I really appreciate that. It was a very nicely done invocation. We've heard a lot from a lot of council members, but one thing I want to say before I go on is I want to thank the Vice Mayor for sitting in your chair last session.
One of my things.
Admirable job. Admirable job. But you were missed, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
To talk about development, I think it's important to have Bob here, not only for the discussion of the transmission power line. I think we need to have more of a discussion about the work session presentations about the fairgrounds property that Guy Gravitt made. I'm starting to think a little bit more about it and cogitate, and I'm having some real concerns about that development. I think we need to have more of a conversation about the John Marshall property, the John Marshall Commons. The idea of the Rotary kind of makes sense from a metering perspective for traffic calming, but 205 units is pretty considerable, and I know we have to get back to our supervisor who has asked for our input. So I think we need to have that conversation sooner rather than later. So I'm looking forward to having Bob here for both. So, and as far as the traffic, yeah, I got stuck in traffic coming down today. I had to come back in from New York, and it took me about a half an hour to go from 15 to my house. Half an hour, and that was around 5 o'clock this afternoon. So it's not just the Haymarket Day. It's what's been happening systematically with VDOT and the planning. I think they should have held off on Carolina Road until 29 was finished to allow for additional throughputs. But I understand, you have encumbrances and money set aside to get these jobs done. So I think we need to do a little bit better job of planning, and VDOT has to really step it up and think about the impacts. I'm not sure about their traffic studies, but I got to tell you, it was a nightmare getting in here. And I've gotten a number of phone calls from family and friends. So the only other thing I'd like to say about that is get out and vote. I yield to Steve.
All right, this has been going on long enough. I just have one brief comment, and that is to emphasize or re-emphasize what Mr. Morris said about the police department, and the interim chief is everything I've seen has just been a wonderful job he's been doing, and I see the department making a big turnaround here, and I just want to thank him again for that, and that's all I have.
And lastly, of course, Mr. Aiken, our Vice Mayor, I'd like to thank you for filling my seat when I was off in London, but you did a great job. I watched it sort of live from the hotel room. I know. I was a little concerned, but I knew that after a few moments that it was going to go all right. And also to personally thank our officers and our the other jurisdiction officers that attended Haymarket Day. Personally thank them for the great job that they did to, keep in check the thousands of people, and they worked long hours for that day. And personally thank them for their attendance there and help. And it's interesting. I'm surprised, Mr. Watts, that of course that you're here tonight. I had lunch with our town manager today, and I'll let him tell you what I told him. What was to me right now the top priority to try to understand and get this thing passed. Mr. Henshaw, what did I say? What was my top priority?
I believe it was ordering lunch, but after that,
that's good.
No, Mr. Mayor did reiterate that we need to move as quickly as we can on Mr. Watts. Unfortunately, the days of doing things, we do have processes we do have to follow, but we will certainly turn our attention to getting this rectified as quickly as possible.
Right, and here's my concern too, because this is maybe not known by all their council members, but I feel that this might be a problem with the Planning Commission. That in years past that this is there's been certain individuals that have kept these properties the way that they are, and when we invite Mr. Weir, I'd like to have some candid conversations with him of why he feels that these should not be zoned that way. And ask him for his support that we do the right thing for Mr. Watts. That these three properties be consistent with our zoning through the downtown street, and as well as to find out how can we fast track this to have an amendment done that the council might be supportive of. However, the Planning Commission might not. So how do we overlook that challenge? So other than that, I think that's it. That's it. Yeah, that's right. You can't. Your mic's off. So
I was going to add about with the traffic. It seemed like it's the traffic such a huge problem. Is there any way we could incorporate our police department to assist with the traffic flow? Because when you give people who are being paid the flag, stop and go, the sign, they may not be releasing the traffic in the best interest of the community. They're releasing it in the best interest of, okay, our truck is coming, let's stop the traffic. But if we have our police department there, and maybe Chief can add something here, if we have our police department on the scene who can give the directive as to when to release, you guys would be there watching the lights, watching to see which vehicles are at the stoplight for the past 20 minutes. Instead of the flagmen directing traffic, you guys would be there to support them. And is it possible for our police department to be more involved?
I know we have spent a considerable number of staff hours down there all along. Particular Officer Reedon has been at the church, and we worked with them to try to synchronize the flag persons as best we can. I think some of this just has nothing more to do than the volume, and there's just not much you can do to tweak it.
I know part of the problem was somebody said that 66 was down to one lane Thursday.
Correct.
And so that didn't help at all either. So then the backlog then goes down the ramp, down 66.
Most traffic, they're going to choose to go to the path of least resistance.
Yes.
They're going to jump onto the side streets. Now, what happens is you basically, from a construction standpoint, from an infrastructure standpoint, you've kind of got the perfect storm going on. You've got a major cut-through artery that has been cut off, so now people are looking for alternatives to there. Despite the time that we've taken for the streetscape project, it's been a very long and tedious project. We are nearing the end. What they are in the process of doing, and the reason why we've had flagmen out there for the last several days, is because we're stripping the pavement to put down the final top coat layer. So the final payment is coming in. Once final payment come in, if you notice, most of the sidewalks and all the curb and gutter and concrete has been poured. Once the final payment comes in, then we're at the point where now we're just going to be finishing up the actual beautification of the streetscape by installing the street lights and doing the landscaping and installing the grass or seeding. And so because of those issues, you have this, you've got 29, you just got the perfect storm of construction going around. It's unfortunate. I wish to goodness we had answers. I'd love to just go and, point our fingers at VDOT and say, you all need to coordinate better. But unfortunately, you've got totally different departments working with each other. Basically, a lot of these issues, once our streetscape project is completed, I think you will see a little bit of things alleviate. But understand, the bridge is going to be closed for the next 16 months.
In my industry, it's when you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And in my view, it wasn't a very comprehensive and systematic plan on the part of VDOT. Now, I know we have to work with them, and we need to work with them because they do take care of our streets. But they really need to look at it more systematically. All it takes is one little interruption in the system, and this is what happens. Now, Greg has probably seen it before. I think we've all seen it before. So 29, 66, Carolina Road. I mean, what's next? I mean, it's not the streetscape. I mean, if they were done in August like they should have been, it might not be as problematic. But it really is what's happening all around us. And the fact that the infrastructure is now starting to catch up with the population. So a little bit more forward thinking needs to be in place. That's my opinion.
Okay. All right. Well, I think giving them a directive to hopefully help out there wherever they possibly can. I think that's it for our council member time, so entertain that.
I make a motion to adjourn.
There you go.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you all.
Aye.